Welcome to QCC's Face the Region. Face the Region is produced by Quinsigamond Community College to assist our region in attaining educational, economic, and personal prosperity. And welcome once again to Quinsigamond Community College's Face the Region program here on Full Service Radio AM 830 WCRN. I'm Zip Zipfel, and this afternoon we are chatting with Kimberly May, the president of PTK, as well as Ethan O'Connell, a PTK student here at QCC, as we approach commencement time. Guys, when is commencement? What is the official date here?
I believe it's May 18th.
May 18th.
Yes.
Correct.
Everybody looking forward to it, and obviously you guys kind of do it up as far as the celebration and the commencement exercises themselves. What can we expect? What's in the fold for QCC's commencement exercises for 2017?
Well, I think it'll be a lot of waiting. I was at my cousin's last year, and I sat there for 2 or 3 hours, and so I think there is some of that, but it's also a really exciting time to celebrate not only our fellow students, but the people that helped get us here to graduation, and just the people that are moving on as well.
Right, and you are one of those people moving on, correct?
Yeah, both of us.
Are you? Oh, you are. You both graduated?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
that
I
is
didn't know
correct.
that. I didn't even have that in my notes.
They don't give you the good notes.
That is exciting. That's terrific. What's your what have you been studying here at QCC?
So I'm liberal arts here at Quinsigamond, but I plan to study economics at a 4-year school.
Right. Have you decided on your 4-year school yet?
I have not. I just started hearing back from schools, and I think by May 18th, or I'm sorry, May 15th, I'll have heard back by most of them.
Great. And Kim?
Yes, so I am also graduating. I will achieve 2 degrees here. So general studies, healthcare, as well as general studies. And my plan is to move on to a 4-year university. I have already been accepted to 2 colleges, and I'm waiting for 2 more, and I'm hoping to get into Northeastern University.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Now, I know you're quite a bit younger than your counterpart. You're lovely. No, I'm just...
I'm actually probably double his age.
No, not quite.
But so would you consider yourself what they call here at QCC a non-traditional student, I guess?
Yes, that is correct. I actually made the decision to come to QCC 25 years after graduating high school as a means to better myself personally and professionally, as well as to better things for my family.
Sure. And you have kids, or?
I do.
Yeah.
So I have a 23-year-old daughter, as well as a soon-to-be 21-year-old daughter.
You gotta be kidding me.
So,
Go ahead.
and yeah, it's just been a really, really wonderful experience for me. I will be the first in my family to graduate with a professional degree. And it's just, I know my family is extremely proud, my friends, my colleagues. I'm just, the only way that I can describe it is just a truly humbling experience.
Yeah.
So.
Now, were you guys ever in the same classes?
We were, and so Kim and I met in speech and communication.
Yes.
I believe that was last semester this time?
That is
So
correct.
a year ago. And Kim was actually the one that got me interested in Phi Theta Kappa. She was the secretary at the time.
I was actually the liaison for the workforce
That's right.
and development.
And
Center.
so public speaking class, you talk about things you're interested in. And so Kim was talking about PTK, or Phi Theta Kappa, the 2-year honor society here at Quinsigamond. And I was like, wow, that seems like such a great thing. Let me get involved with that. And I've since become the vice president. I'm now the outgoing vice president. So there are new officers coming in. But that's how Kim and I got to know one another through the Honor Society.
Right. You know, doing the program the past couple of months, I've run into, well, I actually had you on the program,
Yeah.
didn't I?
Yes.
And talked to a lot of the PTK people. You guys get an incredible amount of stuff done in the community. I don't know how you find time to do it. And when you go to recruit new students, do you find them, anxious to get involved, as you did?
Yeah, I think that we find that one of the most attractive things about PTK is the opportunity it affords students to go out into the community and to affect positive change. And so I think students are excited about that. One of the major projects we've worked on at as our officer team is outgoing. But one of the things that we've worked on is the literacy initiative through the Worcester Public Library Bookmobile Lily, as it's called.
Yeah.
And so we've committed $100,000 to donate to Lily, and I think we're at 60,000.
Yes, that is correct.
And so a lot of the new officers are getting involved with book donations, raising money for Lily, things of that nature. And then our other big project that we have going on is the greenhouse in which we're growing plants.
Right.
Not quite yet, actually. We're just finishing its construction, but we're getting ready to grow plants. And so I think that community service is a very attractive component of the Honor Society.
Sure. Well, it's real world experience out of the classroom, which
It is, and you meet people, and you encounter individuals that make you grateful for the things that you have, and you become more worldly through it, like you said, real world experience.
Sure, sure. Now, Kim, you're an outgoing officer at PTK?
I am. I have been an officer for the last 3 years. This past academic year I served as president. And so yeah, it's time for me to move on. We do have a new president that was just elected into office. So they're gearing up for a year full of community service and
Scholarship
just
and research
really wonderful experience. So
Very busy, though.
very busy.
So how many years in total were you here on campus? Just 2 years, or?
No, actually, so I started in the fall of 2010, so it's
Right.
been just about seven years.
And were you always involved with PTK that entire time, or?
No, so the requirements to be inducted into the chapter, you have to have earned at least 16 academic credits. You also have to maintain a 3.5 cumulative GPA. So I was actually inducted in 2012 and became an officer in 2014 and have served ever since. So.
Right. Now, as far as moving on career-wise or going on to a four-year school, does having that PTK background and affiliation, does that do good things for a potential?
It does great things.
member?
And so there's a couple of ways in which PTK benefits students seeking to transfer. One is scholarship money. PTK offers $37 million in scholarship money, which is a ton of money. You know, you might not necessarily get $37 million, but I was actually the recipient of the Coca-Cola New Century Scholarship, which is awarded to a student in each of the 50 states. And so PTK gave me access to that scholarship. There are school-specific scholarships. So if you transfer to, what's a school that is a PTK scholarship?
So Northeastern actually has a $5,000 scholarship if you are a Phi Theta Kappa member.
And so just for being affiliated with PTK,
Yes.
and if you get into that school, $5,000 scholarship.
Mhm.
And then the other way that it benefits students is it shows colleges that you're serious about academics, that you can extend yourself beyond a curriculum, you know, go into extracurricular work and maintain a good GPA, and also that you care, that you're someone that wants to affect positive change in the world, and that is going to be an involved member at their college, the college to which you transfer.
Well, I can tell you, looking across the table, that I'm looking at two great champions of the PTK
We like
organization.
PTK, we're
We
fans
love
of it,
it,
yeah.
For
Yes.
sure. We'll find out more about PTK and more importantly, really the focus of the program this afternoon, talking about the big commencement ceremony coming up in short order. When Face the Region, QCC's Face the Region continues on Full Service Radio, AM 830 WCRN. Stay with us. Welcome back to QCC's Face the Region here on Full Service Radio, AM 830 WCRN. I'm Zip Zipville, and this afternoon with Kimberly May, who is president of, I should get this, Phi Theta Kappa?
Phi Theta
I got it
Kappa.
right, great. And as well as Ethan O'Connell, who is part of Phi Theta Kappa, as well as a student, and you're an officer, correct?
Yeah, I'm the vice
Yeah, I
president.
don't have that on my sheet.
Again, they're not giving you the good notes.
I need somebody like you in my organization, I'll tell you. Commencement is coming up in short order here, and one of the things we were chatting about on the program this afternoon is the fact that you've both been asked to speak, correct?
Yes.
That is correct.
And how did that come about, and can you give us a sneak peek,
Yeah,
a
sure
spoiler alert of what you might be dealing with?
So I'm speaking in my capacity as a student government representative. I am what am I? I'm the vice president of Student Senate, and then I'm also the student trustee in the Board of Trustees. And then Kim is speaking as the recipient of the 29 Who Shine Award.
Right, and that's at, there's a ceremony tomorrow at the State House?
That is correct. So in May of 2011, the Massachusetts Department of Higher Education launched 29 Who Shine, which is a commencement ceremony to recognize 29 outstanding students from a community college, a university, or a University of Massachusetts school. And so I am truly honored. There's so many wonderful students, Ethan included, very deserving of this award. And so to be asked or to receive this award, I'm just so truly humbled by all the opportunities. So.
She really does deserve it.
No, I can tell. And not that there's a particular criteria. Who are some of the your fellow colleagues that were named as well? Do you know any of them at all? Or?
No, I don't. So there were 29, like I said, 29 different colleges in the state of Massachusetts.
Oh, they each picked one? Or?
Yeah,
Oh, I see, I see.
For all the public higher education
Yes.
universities and community colleges.
Yes.
I know a couple of them. So all of them are student leaders, exemplify scholarship within their program of study, and are involved with their communities. And so a couple of them are student trustees, a number of them are officers within their PTK chapters, like Kim is. But all around, they're people that have affected positive change within their community and within their school.
Right. Now, is PTK a national organization as well, like a National Honor Society? Or?
It is an international honor society. It's one of the largest, oldest, most prestigious honor societies representing two-year community colleges.
Oh, I see.
Worldwide.
Specific to two-year schools.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's actually 1,300 chapters and over 3 million members, and we're known for our generosity as well as our academic prowess and making a change in the world.
And how humble we are. Speaking
Yes.
of humbleness, did you know that our PTK chapter won #1 most distinguished chapter in the New England region?
Is that right?
Yeah.
We did.
Oh, that's
Very
excellent.
exciting.
We worked
That's how
very,
humble we are.
very hard. Very hard.
But yeah, it was very exciting
Yes.
for us to
So
receive that.
obviously, if there was a QCC student or a potential QCC student listening to the program, you would highly recommend striving for entry into the PTK program?
Absolutely. Not only recommend it, but urge them to do whatever they can to make sure they get into PTK.
And what is the threshold grade level?
So we've recently updated our chapter bylaws. So we've lessened the criteria by a little bit. So instead of 16 academic credits, we're lowering it to 15 academic credits that they have to earn, and then maintaining the 3.5 cumulative GPA.
Right, and then this takes into consideration, which I think may apply to you, like people, non-traditional students coming back in who have full-time jobs or families or whatever their particular situation, in addition to the student who really is full-time and
Exactly.
at a two-year school focusing just on schooling.
Right.
I gotcha. Great. So let's jump back to the commencement speech. What are you thinking you might be touching on there, Ethan?
Yeah, and so when I sat down to write my speech, I asked myself, what do all community college students or students here at Quinsigamond have in common? And the answer is nothing. We come from
Diversity.
Disparate backgrounds. We come from different cultures, we come from different countries, different eras. But the one thing that I thought we did have in common is that we all took a risk by coming to QCC, whether it was a risk of leaving a job or a career to start a new one, to get more education, whether it was a risk of coming from another country to this country to go to school. For me, it was a risk. When I graduated from high school, the only thing I was certain about was I wasn't going to succeed in college. So I was like, all right, no, I'm going to spend money on something that I'm not going to do well at. And so after a couple of years, I thought, well, the things that I'd like to do, they require a college degree, so I'll come back and go to QCC and try that. And so it was a risk for me to try that, to see if I could succeed within an academic setting, and I did. And so I think that everyone sitting there on commencement on the 18th will be doing so because they took a risk, and so that's what I talk about.
Great, fantastic. And Kim? He's a tough act to follow, I know. I hear you.
So I am actually still working on my speech, but mine is actually, it's going to be a little witty. So you utilizing maybe a metaphor about, you know, how maps, we utilize maps in a lot of the coursework that we take, and we utilize mapping in so many different things in our lives to reach certain destinations. And, you know, so I have some witty comments that I'm going to be using in
A
there.
little bit of
that
stand-up in there?
Yeah, well, just it really ties in with it. And just, you know, reminding students, you know, when they reach their destination, you know, to also look back and reflect on the past, you know, how they got there, the people that have inspired them, and motivated them to get to where they are. And just be humble and very appreciative for the opportunity. And I feel as though the education that I have received here, and I'm sure I speak for many, that you come out as greater thinkers. And so I feel as though QCC is a vehicle, you know, to catapult us forward in life. And like I said, I feel like I've grown personally and professionally, and I feel like I've grown some wings, and I know from myself I'm ready to take flight and move forward in life. New
Wow.
destinations.
That's great.
Yes.
We're chatting with Kimberly May, the president of PTK, and Ethan O'Connell, the Student Senate president?
Vice President.
Vice president.
Yes.
Here at QCC, and we'll wrap up with our final segment here on Face the Region in just a couple of minutes as we continue on Full Service Radio, AM 830 WCRN. Welcome back to QCC's Face the Region here on Full Service Radio, AM 830 WCRN. I'm Zip Zipfel, and this afternoon chatting with Kimberly May, who is the president of PTK, Ethan O'Connell, a member of PTK, and the Student Senate Vice President. I think I finally got that correct. And finding out a little bit about the big commencement ceremony coming up the 17th, did you say?
18th.
18th at the DCU. And Ethan, you were saying it's a robust graduating class?
Yeah,
It's in
so
the thousands.
it'll be over 1,000, we believe. Last year was 1,420 or something,
Right.
similar to that, and so it won't be quite as big as that. It was the largest graduating class in QCC history last year.
Wow.
So tough act to follow, but we're hoping to get close to that.
Do we know how many PTK students are graduating?
I do know that I do have a roundabout figure. As of, the list actually continues to update, but as of when I last checked, there was 87 students.
Great.
We'll call it 100.
Yeah, we'll call it
We'll round up,
100.
yeah.
This guy has a future in public relations, and
I know.
you could replace
Those
Spicer
even
down there in the
numbers
White House.
sound much
I
better.
don't know that I'd want to.
No, I don't think you do. I wouldn't want that job, no. If we could spend a couple of minutes and talk a little bit about, now that you're both graduating, come from pretty different backgrounds, I'm guessing. So did you have, would you consider yourself a traditional QCC student?
So technically, no, I don't believe so, because
Okay.
I consider the traditional student range between 18 and 22, and I'm 24 right now, so just beyond that. When I started coming here, I was a traditional student, so this is my third year at QCC. I did 2 semesters part-time and then 4 semesters full-time. And so I'm a little bit different. I took 3 years off after high school and worked in various jobs trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and then I figured out that I'd have to go to school no matter what I wanted to do. So I came here.
Right, right. And while you were here, did you had already decided on a career path and you came here to get the training you needed for the career path, or did you decide on your career path once you were here?
I decided on my career path once I was here. I changed my mind. And so I had a really great economics professor that got me interested in economics, and have since wanted to study economics and then do something with that degree.
Sure. You know, and that's a repeating story I hear doing this program all the time, is how individual professors or counselors or the other staff here at QCC are so instrumental in sowing that seed and encouraging the students to continue to follow their dreams. And I think that's kind of true with you.
Yes, so actually even before I started here, I had held a management role for JCPenney, and one of my managers had said to me when I was contemplating going to college, said, you know, don't allow your age to be the determining factor of who or what you want to become in life, and that resonated with me. However, when I got here, like I said, I went through a tough time, and Bonnie Coleman, who is our lead advisor, really inspired me to keep moving, you know, and continue to pursue my degree. And although I'm on a different path now, you know, I'm just very thankful for the support that I've received from so many wonderful people here on campus, and just, you know, the fact that they rallied around me. You know, they truly want to see all the students here succeed.
That's
in
another
life.
recurring theme I
Yes.
hear all the time.
Yes.
Now, when you came into your first class, were there other students in your age group, or were they generally younger? And what was that experience like? As I personally, I'm quite a few years older, but I would think that would be. I've thought about going back to school, but I'm a little uncomfortable and a little trepidation. You know, just the age difference. Was that the case with you, or how did that work?
So when I can actually still visualize myself on the steps of the A building, and the first time I walked in, I was feeling really intimidated. I was very nervous. During my elementary and secondary school years, I struggled with a reading comprehension issue, and so I was very worried that that was going to cascade into my higher education learning. And what I found was, when I entered into, I think I had taken beginning algebra, and I utilized the resources that were available to me, the tutoring center, and honestly, being in a classroom with different people, that didn't bother me at all. One thing that I did learn was to not sit in the unconscious zone, so I always made it a point to sit in the front and be engaged. And I got along with everyone, all the different age ranges, and so that didn't bother me at all. I think the biggest thing for me was to take that initial step. But then once you saw what you were able to achieve, that was enough to drive you, you know, just to keep working hard.
Would you characterize the QCC professors and staff as welcoming and embracing?
Yeah, certainly.
Yes.
And if I may add a gross generalization to your question, I would say that in the classes that I've had with students that are older and untraditional, they're generally the better students in the classes. They're more focused, they know what they want, and they have the maturity and the life skills to succeed in the classroom.
Does that set a good role example for
Yeah,
somebody?
and something that you're not going to encounter at a four-year school typically.
Yeah, I would think that would be true, you know, and the other thing too, and again, I don't want to generalize, but.
Feel free.
Thank
Go for it,
you.
yeah.
And again, I'm not talking about, you know, the more expensive private schools as being, you know, those students having the feeling of entitlement, but I do think there's a certain degree of proactive involvement with somebody who takes that step to, leave raising a family or a job or whatever to take that chance. So that's great. So any words of, as you're both graduating, any words of wisdom for the burgeoning QCC student?
I think for me, I would say, you know, don't be afraid to take risks, and to embrace the journey. Don't rush it, per se, and to, like I said, reflect back on all that you've accomplished. But you know, yeah, just really embrace the journey and get involved. It truly enhances the entire college experience.
Was it fun?
I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, there were fun parts.
Yeah.
And Ethan,
I would
words
say-
of wisdom?
Get involved. I found that the more I got involved here, the more QCC had to offer me. And so my first 2 semesters, I was just part-time. I'd come here, I'd go to class, I'd go home, I'd go to work. No real extracurricular involvement. But I think my 3rd semester, I joined the Student Senate. I became a Writing Center tutor, joined PTK, joined the Psychology Honor Society, did a bunch of different things. And I was like, wow, this is great. Why didn't I do this before? And so if I had to do it over again, or if I had to tell people, maybe consider this, it would be to get involved early on and stay involved, because that's really how you get the most out of a college experience, not just here, anywhere. And then the other thing is get to know your professors as best you can. So many of my professors I haven't really gotten to know except until this past semester, and I was like, wow, why didn't I do this earlier? These are really cool people, and enjoyable and informative to talk to. And one of the great things about QCC is professors are super accessible.
Yeah.
You don't have to go through a TA or anything. You can go meet with them, pretty much anytime.
Great community.
Yeah.
Do you see a future in politics, young man?
I don't think so. I worked in politics, not in politics, but I worked as a field organizer, I guess the position was. And I said, after that job, if I ever want to go into politics, I'm going to make myself eat a pine cone. So that's my obstacle. So I can, but I'm going to have to do something real unpleasant.
There you go. Well, Kimberly May and Ethan O'Connell, first let me say congratulations on your
Thank you.
upcoming
Thank you
graduation
so
and
much.
commencement. That's terrific, and the best of luck, and I'm sure continued success for both of you. And wherever your journey takes you. And thanks for being with us here.
Thanks for having us.
On
Thank you for
QCC's
having
Face
us.
the Region, which you hear every week at this time on Full Service Radio, AM 830 WCRN.
This has been Quinsigamond Community College's Face the Region. Join us again next weekend on AM 830 WCRN.